Our guest today on Caribbeana is Garth St. Clair. Garth and his wife, Natasha Nunez, runs a program called Eye on Dependency. And before I go into describe it, I would rather welcome Garth and have him talk to you about the program. Welcome, Garth. It's nice seeing you, man.
Yes, it's nice. Finally, one that we managed to pull off this interview. We've been planning it a while.
Yeah.
Yes, but thank you very much, and I'll convey those kind sentiments to Natasha. She's on her
Right.
way home now from work.
Right. Well, Garth and I have another relationship because we were in the army together, 1st Battalion Trinidad and Tobago Regiment. I was an old soldier before he came in, and then he came in, and that's how we found out about each other. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And I remember you coming to Trinidad and you realized, we were on radio and you hooked up with us and all of that. Yeah, I
Right.
remember. I mean, that was donkey years ago. You were
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember.
but it's so ironic that I'm still here. Thank God we're still here, and I'm still doing some of it. Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's cool. That's very good.
Right.
But I want to say hello to the folks out there, from
Right.
Trinidad and Tobago. It's hot sun down here. We have been seeing some really strange numbers, 38, 39. It's like, we're
Yeah.
not accustomed to that level of heat. But oh my God. And-
Right.
but when I hear somebody temperature in your neck of the woods, I'm saying that it is
You
winter
can't,
down
you
here.
can't. Yeah, you get accustomed to it, man.
Yes, we're not accustomed to it.
Iron dependency. Tell us what it is. What is it is exactly?
Well, iron dependency is a drug demand reduction prevention talk show. It started off as that actually back 23 years ago. Um, and it was because of my experience with crack cocaine. Now, the crack cocaine phenomenon hit Trinidad and Tobago in the early 80s.
Yes.
And I joined the regiment in 82. So,
Yes.
and during that time, my career started off really well as a young physical training instructor. I started to climb really fast.
Right.
And then I decided that, and I know you would remember this is Carl Ramsey,
Yes.
right? And Ramsey, and they encouraged me to apply for commission. Uh,
Right.
but I just had two subjects, so I had to go back because the requirements, you need five subjects to be
Right.
a commission officer. So I
Yeah.
had the ambition and I felt I had the time, and so I started doing evening classes, but it was tough being a PTI, a young PTI, and doing, these type of studies. And then what I did, I bit off more than I could chew. Instead of taking one subject at a time, I decided to
Right.
do three. And so I was overloaded with studies. And then one night, this senior corporal woke me up and he said, look, he's going to bring something for me that's going to keep me up in the night. And he did. He brought crack cocaine.
Oh, damn.
And this corporal actually was credited for introducing cocaine to the force,
Right.
because he was, I don't know if the name not Boucher, it'll come back to me in
Right.
Scotland. I don't know if
Yeah,
that
man.
rings a bell.
Scotland from Grenada.
Scotland, yes,
Yeah.
Scotland died a crack addict himself because he was
Yeah.
eventually discharged too.
Yeah.
Right. So he brought it into the force, and because he was friendly with some folks from Arima, the Lane family, and
Right.
they were all involved in, you know, drug
Right.
trafficking.
Right.
So he felt that, well, he had already made clientele in the force, so he brought it
Right.
in.
Right.
And it's so funny that when he introduced it, uh people, I didn't know what it was. When I said I didn't know the effects that it would have had on me.
Right.
He only said it would keep me up at night, and I said, well, all right, fine,
Right.
try it. But
Right.
again, I don't want people to believe that substance abuse started there. Substance abuse starts really from the home. You see that foundation?
Yes.
It's where it really starts,
Yeah.
and I felt it was a funny statement when I started to do the theoretical side of it. But
Right.
it really does, that foundation from home, growing up children with either to be confident or to have low self-esteem is very
Yes.
important. There's striking of a balance there at some point,
Right, right.
you know, and then there are
Yeah.
some who are predisposed to addiction.
Yes, 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 yes.
So as a result of that, you know, born into the peer pressure, only
Yeah.
was an illegal drug. I tried it, and that was the turning point of my career
Damn,
because
damn.
I got so, and I'm one of those people that I need to get everything right. You know,
Right,
um, you know, there are people like that who they try something once and they fail, they try it again and again and again and
right,
again.
right,
But
right.
this is the effects that crack cocaine, a class A drug like crack cocaine has.
Yes,
It's
yes,
only the first time that you take it, it really tastes good.
yes.
And you could smoke 1,000 rocks after that. It will never replicate that first time you
This
taste it.
time, right, right,
So this
right.
is what causes addiction really to take hold of someone because
Yes,
you're chasing after that first nice feeling
yeah.
that you will never ever get again.
Damn.
And yeah, so this is the irony of it. This is what helped me to become a good instructor because I took night to make day to study. I was
Yes,
I'm now the best shot in my batch, you know,
right,
and because the I was a runner, but the best shot he passed away recently. So
right,
no, I'm the best shot in my batch. And the only
right,
reason I didn't get the best shot because my instructor forgot how to show me to shoot at night, you know,
right,
going on the range and throwing down a few on the range in pitch
right.
darkness. There's a technique in doing that.
Yes,
He somehow neglected to show me how to do that because I was leading, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But that's the kind of temperament I had. I wanted to do everything right, and I wanted to do crack cocaine right.
Damn.
And instead of that, I wasn't winning the fight, you know, until
Yes,
I was eventually discharged.
damn, damn, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, after such a very good career start.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So
um,
what led you into now you're an advocate to keep people off of it? I mean, how did you get from step A to step B?
well, first of all, after trying rehabilitation 2, 3 times, um, I was arrested and charged for larceny because I was singing with Kalian at the time. I was
Right,
a frontline singer, and I sold the equipment, some of the equipment there, to continue, you know, satisfying my habit. And
right,
I
right.
was eventually arrested and charged for larceny. I stole $76,000 worth of equipment and
Damn,
sold it for next to nothing.
right,
And
right.
so it's when I got into prison, is then it all came down on me that
Yeah,
look, I need to do something. I need to, when I get out of here, is either I continue how I was going or turn the leaf.
you're right,
And
right, right.
I decided in prison that I had done. I was
Yeah,
done with, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I got a year. I did 6 months, and during that time, I decided, I need to do something better in life because you see, I'm a talented person,
yeah.
and
Yes,
I have
I was going to tell people that you're not just simply an old soldier, but you're a calypsonian. You sing too.
yes,
You perform in
yes,
groups.
yes.
You know.
Yeah, and so I just felt that, and you see, while I was in prison too, I saw the amount of Black lives being wasted because of crack cocaine.
Yeah,
The amount of because the majority of people who were coming into prison was brothers and sisters who were hooked on crack cocaine,
yeah,
uh, and I got scared, and even soldiers and sailors while I was there, they were coming and going,
yeah,
and I said, no, I cannot live like this, you know, and
yeah,
and so it's there, and then I made a conscious decision to stop no matter what. So when I was released on the 11th of June, 1991, I embarked on a journey of recovery, full recovery,
right,
no
right,
relapse. And so far, I've managed to hold it down.
right,
And but what really made me make that decision to turn it around now to try to help people.
yeah,
Um, there were two things I experienced. Trying to reintegrate in Trinidad and Tobago was very difficult, you know,
right,
because now in my country, it doesn't matter what you did before, how many good you did before.
yeah.
We only know you now for what you did after that.
Right, right,
And because remember, I wasn't a backroom soldier, I was a frontline soldier.
right, right. Yeah,
So I did, yeah, apart from the PTI course that we would do, the combined services trainer course, I did aerobics, around the country. People went sent for us to come out part of the country and to do fitness
Yes.
programs. So people were familiar with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So reintegrating was really difficult. So I decided, look, let me head out of Trinidad and Tobago. I got a work permit from the Canadian Embassy to go and sing with a band in Canada.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I decided, okay, this is it, I'm going to. But Trinidad and Tobago was on my mind because I knew that there were a number of soldiers who would follow in my footsteps.
Right. 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 Right.
And, back in the day, the old soldiers like Joe Theodore and Ralph Brown and Baden Semper and all of these
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
they were hard and fast about substance abuse. Now,
Exactly.
mind you, they weren't supposed to discharge us according to the Defense Act, but we
Yes.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we just took our discharge and walked.
Yeah.
Fast forward to this generation now, this generation, because they didn't want people to join the work without subjects any longer after us,
Yeah.
these guys went to the Defense Act and they realized that you can't discharge me, and they took them to court, and a lot of them were reinstated. We didn't know that, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I was worried that a lot of young soldiers would have followed our path. So while I was in Canada, I made that decision to return home and start this program called Independence.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And Natasha and I were just friends then, but she had the experience in radio. So I
Right.
called her and I said, look, this is my plan. I'm
Right.
going.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, I remember I was in Brooklyn at the time in Flatbush.
Yeah.
And I called her from a payphone because there was this nagging pain that I felt that I was misunderstood in my own country.
Right.
A
Right.
number of people would follow me
Yeah.
because now having done the theoretical side of substance abuse, I realized that it's not a moral deficiency.
Yes.
It's because the simplest of people or the most disciplined of person could get caught up in it.
Yes. Yes.
And so I wanted to share that part of it.
Yeah.
It was a little challenging at first, but then um, she was Senator at the time, Senator the Honorable Joan Williams. I
Yeah.
went to her and I said, ma'am, I would like to do a program on radio
Right. Right. Right.
to
Right.
warn people about the growing epidemic called crack cocaine
Right.
that
Right.
is going to spread like wildfire in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
And she said, okay, fine, it sounds like a good idea. Go to NADA, talk to the man in charge, tell him I sent you.
Right.
And that's how Independency started.
Damn. Damn. And today, Iron Dependency is a massive program that impacts the society tremendously. And
Yes.
so how do you view the success of it? I mean, how do you see? Do you see it as? How do you see it now?
Well, there are talk shows and there are talk shows. It's easy to run a talk show. And these days, people, I always say there are talk show hosts and there are people who host talk shows.
Right. Right.
There's two different things.
Yeah.
And so I decided I wanted to become a talk show host. So I went and did a broadcasting course. And I insisted to Natasha that we didn't want this talk show just to be come on the air, talk, and that's it, because
Right.
money is spending on this.
Right. 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 Right.
So because the radio stations, despite all what you hear, they talk about cutting down on recidivism and want to contribute to crime, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not doing anything for free.
Yes. Yeah.
You tell yourself a talk show like ours would have can't blast free airtime to do these things.
Right. Right.
So, but I insisted on not being that ordinary talk show. We wanted to produce tangibles.
Yes.
So during our journey, we started looking outside of just substance because we started off doing my interview, telling my life story, and then we brought
Right.
people to tell theirs.
Right.
During that time, we found out that drug trafficking, which is now considered human trafficking as well,
Yes.
was happening right under our nose. And when Mr. Manning formed this organization called SOURCE,
Yes.
under Joseph,
Yeah.
they teamed up with a UK agency. That time they were called SOCA, Serious Organized Crime Agency. They're now the National Crime Agency.
Right.
And they had a massive sweep through the Caribbean for arresting people who for conspiracy to traffic cocaine to the UK.
Right.
And of course, they got the support of South here. And in that dragnet, they got two guys from Tobago. One
Yeah.
of them was working at Caribbean Airlines.
Uh-huh.
So he was a counter attendant at Caribbean Airlines, and he was actually giving women drugs to take to the UK.
Right.
So of course they caught him, and he was extradited.
Right.
So we wrote to the UK authorities, and after some jumping through hoops, we were given the permission to go and do an interview with him. So that was our first outside both interview,
Right.
interview a national of Trinidad and Tobago who
Right.
was in prison for. And while we were there, we found out that there were really more people from Trinidad and Tobago who were spread across the UK in prisons.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
we were allowed to visit at least 8 prisons, and we started interviewing because drug trafficking was
The
picking
big
up.
thing, yeah, yeah, well,
Right.
yeah.
So we got interviewed a lot. We interviewed a lot of females too as well, who were in Trinidad, who were in the UK prisons. So we had
Yeah.
a chance to visit like 8 prisons and interview people.
Yes.
And while we were making these rounds, we found out that there was a prison radio station. We never heard of that before.
Yeah.
So we made more inquiries and stuff. And then when we came back to Trinidad, we approached the then People's Partnership government. Look, this is what we like to do.
Right.
Because the funds, and now we have a prison radio station at the maximum security prison.
Right. Right.
But one of the tangibles that we produced, now the prison radio station is not a broadcast nationally, but it's community. So all the prisons will hear it and stuff. But
Right.
it's an educational tool,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
prisoner. And then even during the COVID, the Minister of Health, National Security, and they went to the station to, of course, sell the idea to the prisoners about taking the vaccine and all of that. So it was used, and it's still up and running.
Yes. Yes.
So that was one tangible. And then we came up with a film called Trafficked. And this came out from one of the stories that we got while we were interviewing folks. It's about
Yes.
3 nationals of Trinidad and Tobago who went to Cancun on vacation, and they were coerced by this drug lord. They were tricked first, groomed
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything, and then he dropped the bomb on them and said, look, you had to take some cocaine back to Trinidad for me. And they were caught, one died. So we actually produced that film. It's a film called Traffic.
Right. Right.
And then one of the better tangibles, I would think too, is that, and by the way, Traffic is still being used today to educate, because we want it to be an educational tool.
Exactly. Right. Right.
It has all the elements of the act, the means and purpose of human trafficking in it.
Right. Can
So,
people get it online?
well, it's not, we send it to people privately who want it.
Okay. All right.
But
Okay.
we don't have, because remember, we don't want it to be out there being beaten when we're still using it as a teaching tool.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Right.
So people who requested to show in schools or, community
Right.
and stuff like that as an educational tool,
Cool. Right. Yeah.
them that is what they would do with it and not post it online.
Yeah.
So, and in 2017, actually, the U.S. State Department doing a lot of, they the top dog in,
Drug
you know,
interdiction.
what does it say? They're looking at every country who not doing anything about human trafficking.
Right.
Right. But yeah, that's their job. They took up that job, and so we were in tier 3, and then we went to tier 2. And in the 2017 tip report, they said that the film Traffic played a part in elevating Trinidad and Tobago to tier 2 watch list.
Right. Right.
Trafficking in person watch list. So we felt good about that, because at least we, we presented the country with a tool that helped elevate itself on the trafficking in person watch.
Right.
And then we found out about drug treatment courts, because our prisons, there's a sort of revolving door syndrome, where magistrates didn't understand, and they still don't, most of them, and some of them don't care to understand that when somebody comes in front of you 3 or 4 times with a crack cocaine addiction, sending them to prison is not going to help them.
Right.
You need to rehabilitate them.
Yes.
And there are people who will willingly want to do that. So, and drug treatment courts presented that opportunity.
Yes.
We had the opportunity to visit drug treatment courts in the UK, US, and Canada.
Yeah.
And we collected all the information, and we brought it back to the National Drug Council here. and the drug council took it to the DPP, and the DPP agreed. So now we have drug treatment courts in Trinidad and Tobago. So at
Fantastic.
least those tangibles that we produced help in a way for us to understand that we have something not just to talk about, but we have proof that what we've been doing has
It's
helped in the
working.
country. Yeah.
Right. Man, I'm so happy to hear this story, because it is so important, you know. Now, with regards to youth, do you get any impact to help the young people uh, in this situation?
Well, as much as we can, but like for instance, just yesterday, we said we observing Calypso History Month once again, that's
Right.
every October.
Yes.
And just yesterday, Tuco held uh, sort of half-day workshop for children, and I was part of that lineup to teach them about the danger of substance abuse.
Right.
So I get the opportunity as well when people ask me to go and do lectures or come and do lectures in schools and communities and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
So yeah, so we try our best to, and then I will try as well, and I've been given the opportunity several times to speak to recruits in the regiment,
Regiment. Right.
in the Coast Guard, because just to let them know about the start of their journey, what they expect and how to treat with it.
Yes.
And so I've been given that opportunity to as well to speak to these youngsters.
Yeah.
So I try my best to try and reach out to youngsters and hope that they would listen.
Right. Yeah, man. Yes, man. I'm so happy. I'm pleased to see that your work is so valuable, so worthwhile. Huh?
Yeah, but whoever
So
would have thought those, Vaughn, because I never thought that. I thought I was just going to warn people about cocaine, but it turns out that the list has grown tremendously.
tremendously.
Then, yeah, we
Yes.
have lots of things added to the list that when you look in one direction, there's others coming. So because I didn't know anything about Molly and GHB and
Right.
ketamine and
Right.
and fentanyl and all of these things.
Right.
Never knew about that, but
Yeah.
it's now.
Right. Well, I just hope that maybe the government or somebody could see the value of what you all are doing and add give some implementation of financing to help expand and give you all staff and thing to really do the thing, man. I mean, this look is big stuff you're talking about here, and it's
It
a
sounds good.
society you're talking about.
Sounds good, but we not like that. We haven't reached to that yet. But we haven't reached to that. I mean, it's so much so that, this little, because right now the counter trafficking unit is paying the bill for us to
Yeah.
have these programs, right, to be on
Yeah.
air.
Right.
But it costs like every 3 months, they have to fork up $74,000 for
Yeah.
every 3 months. And that's for the airtime.
Yeah.
And we still find ourselves in a hole for production. So
Yes.
we try reaching out to corporate Trinidad and Tobago, and corporate Trinidad and Tobago just not interested.
Yes.
The same people from the Chamber of Commerce and all these people here stand on platforms and talk about crime and how much it's affecting them. And
Yeah.
you go to them, they always give you that generic response. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Oh,
And that's what we've been getting. So
yeah.
on one hand, it's fulfilling, but on
Yeah.
the other hand, it's always a challenge.
Challenge.
And
Yeah.
then we never on terra firma, because from one minister to the next, or from one permanent secretary to the next, that could change
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
and they would wait until you go over time and you stay on the radio and then tell you, look, we're not going ahead with that again, and we now have to scramble and try and find another sponsor. And it
Right.
has been a crapshoot, really.
Yeah.
Thank God so far that we're managing to stay with national security.
Yeah.
We're appreciative of that, and we try to, do the work that highlights the work of national security as well.
Right. And the station that your program comes off on the air in Trinidad is what?
It's I-95.5 FM,
Okay.
but we also on Facebook and YouTube. So every time we go live from 10 a.m. on
Right.
5.5, we also are live on our Facebook and Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel. So
Excellent.
any Sunday morning from 10 a.m., you can pick us up on YouTube or Facebook on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel.
Right. I is EYE
Yes.
on dependency. All
Yes.
right. Garth is man is nice talking to you, man, and I'm sure our listeners would enjoy hearing this. And anyone who would like to make contact with you, how can they do that?
Well, they just shoot us a message on Dependency Facebook Messenger, and we always get it.
Uh,
And yeah, because we trying to reach out to people in the diaspora as well,
yeah,
and who can, not only listen to what we do, but if they have any idea of support that we can gather,
right,
and that will help us a great deal in keeping this going. Because if you visit our Facebook page, you would see the comments for themselves. They see how people enjoy what we do. They learn a lot from what we do. Just
right,
last Sunday, we had a female corporal from the regiment on, from who came and told her story, accompanied by Captain Dillon.
yeah,
Um, and she born and grew in the Beacom, and she had a very tough life.
yeah.
And
I heard that one. I think. Yeah,
right, so we use her story, as a motivational
yeah,
piece, so that others who think their life was bad or they having problems with their life, she was an example of anything you can overcome, anything once you put your mind to it.
right. Okay. All right, Garth. Listen, thank you so much for taking time out, and give my love to Natasha, and I wish you all continued success.
Thank you very much, Vaughn, and much love to you and the family, and to your listeners. Hello
Thank
from
you.
Trinidad and Tobago.
All
One
right,
love.
right. Okay. I've been speaking with Garth Clair, who is from the Eye on Dependency. It's a movement that exists in Trinidad and Tobago dealing with the prevention and teaching of drugs. This is Von Martin. Caribbeana continues.